And who might you be?
You stuck-up, half-witted, scruffy-looking nerf herder. I love you.
I know.
Hello everyone and welcome to Frozen in Carbonite. It's time for another randomizer chat, so let's generate a number. 40. Right everyone, we have set number 40. It's from the Hoth cycle. It's the Killing Cold. So it's Sith objective 5-1. It's Hoth traded in action. Sacrifice a unit you control to remove 1 damage from a friendly Hoth objective. Oh, those Hoth days of healing Hoth objectives and not healing Hoth objectives and damaging Hoth objectives. It was a crazy old mechanic which just never really took off, and because it was so enclosed in the Hoth cycle, it sort of didn't really allow the Hoth sets to expand outside of a Hoth deck, and yeah, kept them pretty much constrained to that cycle. And as everyone knows, or you ever asked about the game, when they say, well, you want to give the first cycle a miss possibly, and then because the better cards come later. So from my memory, this was from the first pack of the Hoth cycle, so this would probably have been the first new addition to what went into the Sith core decks, which was mainly Sith Control. And as we all know, Sith Control was like the best dark side deck at that time. So what did the Killing Cold have to offer? Well, the objective itself, not too much. A lovely piece of artwork though. Anyway, we'll move on, because I think the majority of it came down to these guys. So we got Ice Trompers. Say 2 cost, 2 health, 1 pip. Has 1 black gun. It's a creature and Hoth trade. Action: sacrifice this unit to remove a target attacking non-vehicle unit from engagement, then deal 1 damage to that unit. Now, this had some interesting, annoying interactions, and because the light side at the time would have been Super Friends before the Hoth cycle came out, and that's just when we were starting to get speeder decks and everything. So the main thing at the time was character decks. So Ice Trompers were annoying because they were just removing people from engagements, and then allowing the targeted striking Sith characters like Vader to take out the light side. Where these came a cropper is when the vehicle decks did start to prosper. Then these guys struggled a bit because they can do anything about it, and having only 1 gun on the defense, you could throw him into a defensive engagement, but you were going to struggle. So as per usual back then, two of them in the set. Now it's taken a very long time for creature decks to become a thing, and when you think of all the other Sith creatures there are now, the Sith creature deck did become quite an archetype, but I guess it's debatable, and I guess people can comment to that whether you would fit Ice Trompers into a Sith creature deck, because I know there's lots of other Sith creatures that are a lot better, but these guys, I'd say they were okay for the time, but I don't know if they would fit in a creature deck these days, so you'll have to let me know on that one. What's also interesting at the time is to see that this was actually given a Hoth trait, so I have no idea what the idea was behind that, but that was interesting. Right, so next card up after that was Fear. Lovely piece of artwork. So it's 1 cost, 2 pip. It's a enhancement, so enhance an enemy character unit, remove the enhanced unit from the force struggle if able. Enhanced unit cannot commit to the force. So once again, this was back when you were dealing with the core Yoda and Obi-Wan and Luke's, and it just shored up that you were going to be making sure you were going to be winning the Force struggle. But then later on, this sort of become a dud card. I don't recall seeing it played too often. It was more used for the edge, for the 2 pips, but it's one of those annoying cards. And then when it became prevalent to actually get rid of enhancements of the such, then it just, I don't think it really clicked. But they sort of had this idea in the Hoth cycle, because you got a few of the emotional cards, so like fear, anger, hatred and all that, but they didn't really play well to each other, and they were all spread in random sets, so it wasn't like you could get Vader together with all these conditions. It just didn't mix very well. It'd be nice to if we could like create our own sets and start putting like all the conditions into one objective set. So like I'd have an emotion objective set, so fear, anger, hatred and everything all in one objective set. I think that would have been a much better idea at the time, but I think this was the first of the those condition cards, probably one of the better ones compared to the others. But yeah, so I think the saving grace of this was its 2 pips really. Anyhow, moving on. Desolation of Hoth. Free cost event, so that's very expensive at the time, but like again, saving grace, 3 pips, so it's a great edge card. So it's Hoth traded, play only during your turn, move any amount of damage from a Hoth objective you control to a target enemy unit or Hoth objective. So this once again played heavily on the Hoth trait, so unless you were running a Hoth deck, this really wasn't going to pay off. And the problem is that eventually, once the Hoth cycle came out, there wasn't really a good Hoth Sith deck to go to. You either had to mix with Navy, because Navy got the much better and more thematic of the Hoth sets, but trying to do a 2-way deck at that time, it was just didn't work, and it wasn't thought of. Now, I'm sure there are some times where some people back in the day when Hoth was prevalent, that this really pulled some punches, but now when you're lucky to barely see a Hoth deck, it's just a 3 pip edge card. But the piece de resistance of this whole set, and one thing that everyone had to keep account of when you were doing your deck objective number countings, was where did the Twist of Fates appear, and this set had a Twist of Fate, so it's probably why it did just slot well into a Sith control deck, because it gave you the extra twist, it gave you the defensive option with the Ice Trompers, had a 3 pip edge card, and that was it, and a 2 pip edge card. Aside from that, it was just another way of making Sith control that a little bit more annoying. Aside from that, the Sith stuff from the Hoth cycle didn't really excite anyone until you got to the very end of that cycle, where you got the Executor, must pronounce it right, otherwise I'll get hate, and when you get the Sith holocron. But having that set, there was actually no Hoth related actions to that, so hence why that could just fit into any Sith deck. But yeah, it brings back memories. Like I say, it was the first set where you could actually start attempting to do some deck building in this game from just out the core. So if you were bored of playing Sith control, this mixed it up a little, not too much. But then the biggest counter to Sith control was the speeders and the unblockables decks, and these had a pretty tough time dealing with it, so You didn't see them that much. So I guess the next talking point is, can we use it now? Well, it's probably a good surprise surprise choice to put into a deck. Twist's always nice, free pip edge card, and I guess you're just playing it mainly for the ice trumpets. So if you know you're not coming up against vehicles, or you're having some casual games, you know someone's trying to put together a character deck, which most of the light side stuff seems to be heading towards at the moment. If you were still playing off the remnants of the last cycle, you would have been trying to get all those character things to work, and then these guys would have just been damn annoying on that. But yeah, so for all those old players out there, got any good memories of this set? And for all those people still playing, still creating decks, big questions. Does this fit in a creature deck? Is this still... Could you fit it in an actual good Hoth deck? Does it, with the new affiliation cards, could it... Is there a cross between Sith and Navy that could work? I don't know. It is a good question. But anyway, that is the Killing Cold. And it certainly had a bit of a bite to it. But I'm not sure if it had the full-blooded killingness of it, but you gotta love that art. That's wicked. Anyway, that's all from me. Hope you enjoyed the randomizer chat, and I'll see you next time.